When they said we were going to be shooting part of this special in Oklahoma, I got a big old lump in my throat because that means I get to go back home to where I grew up. I've always been very fond of Oklahoma. It's a different breed of chickens back there. McEntires are strange people. I guess I'm proud to be one of them. I think you'll tell that in this special.
Will you visit me on Sunday? Will you bring me pretty flowers?
There were 4 of us kids. We were all raised right here in these hills. I'm the oldest. Paik is 18 months younger than I am, and Reba is 18 months younger than Paik, and Susie's 2 years younger than Reba.
Music was a way of life. Nobody thought anything about it. Everybody just sang.
Mom and Daddy would be out going off to a rodeo, and we'd be with them, of course, in the back seat, and Mama would kind of teach us singing to keep us from fussing and fighting.
She'd say, okay, kids, let's sing a song. And that would keep us busy for quite a while.
So she taught us harmony.
Would I hear your footsteps out there?
Daddy was always saying, why do people want to do something they're not good at? I'd want to go make money. I'd want to make money hauling hay, mowing yards, anything in the world. And Daddy would say, Reba, why don't you just go practice your music? I would sit there and think, well, how in the thunder do you practice music? So he was very persistent in telling us kids to stick with the music. Clark Ryan was my Oklahoma history teacher, my art teacher, and our music teacher.
The other schools had marching bands. Clark Ryan and I decided we might have a country band. I don't know how they came up with the name.
Paik being the lead singer of the group, Kiowa Cowboys High School Band. And then later on, we were the singing McEntires.
Of course, Reba got her contract with Mercury, and it broke our trio up.
Susie was still in high school. She said, Reba, go ahead. Paik said, Reba, go ahead, too. So it made it a lot stronger for me to have the blessings of Paik and Susie for me to go out on my own. We drove that long trail from Oklahoma to Nashville, and Mama took me every time. I kept making excuses to stop, and Mama finally pulled into a Dairy Queen and said, Reba, if you don't want to do this, that's fine. So let me tell you something, little girl. She says, I'll be living my dreams through you if you go through this. That's all I needed. I'm doing my 20th anniversary album this year. This is my 20th year in the music business. What I wanted to do is find the songs that influenced me, that I fell in love with when we were all singing together, singing McEntires, and songs that Mama had albums of when we was kids and would listen to them, and get those songs all together and do a remake. And one of the songs I picked was 500 Miles Away from Home. There's nothing worse than being homesick. Car sick is bad enough, but being homesick is absolutely the worst. Ultimately.
I agree.
Teardrops fell on Mama's note when I read the things she wrote. She said, we miss you, girl, we love you, come on home.
I don't think in our family anybody really let the other one get too high-headed. We knew that we had to work hard for what we got.
It was a lot of fun, like being around Reba and Susie. We had a lot of family time that way.
I guess to some people, it's not a big deal to be with family. But by golly, it's always been a big deal to us to be together.
Away from home, cold and tired and all alone. Yes, I'm 500 miles away from home.
For years, I didn't care to be a mother. I didn't want to be a parent. I was thinking that my career, my livelihood was just doing great. And then when Narvel and I decided to have a child, I think that decision, it changed my life.
Hang on, Mom, it's gonna be a bumpy night.
Are you watching where you're going?
Yeah.
Shelby Stephen McEntire Blackstock is the absolute highlight of my life. Floorboarding.
I am.
Oh. You're not insinuating I'm too heavy, are you?
No.
Oh, good idea.
You're not too heavy.
Thank you, dear.
You're just right.
He is the sunshine. He's the funniest thing. What's that tree?
Rock and roll.
We'll rock and roll you in a minute. Watch that bump. Where are you going? Shelby brings out the kid in me. He makes me silly. He makes me goofy. I get to do goofy things with him that I'm grown up now. I'm probably not supposed to do, but I still like to do it.
Yeah!
Whoa! Pull up here and stop just a second. Dolly Parton was a huge influence on me. I have been a huge fan of hers since the beginning. When I started going through all of the Dolly songs, the one that Narvel kept saying, what do you think about this one, what do you think about this one, was Starting Over Again. That's a song that back when Dolly had it out as a single really touched his heart, and he asked me to put this on the album. Now we're in a position where we can do things that we've been wanting to do for 20 years. So, golly, let's just start over again and have some fun with it.
We're standing here at the place where we were all raised in Chalky, Oklahoma.
Growing up in this area is pretty tough. I love southeastern Oklahoma. I've been all over the United States, and there's no place like home, like they say.
Our dad was raised about 3 miles up the north of here at a place called Limestone Gap.
Sure lots of boyhood memories here. We moved here in 1930 when I was 3 years old. Mama taught school and Daddy rodeoed, and we stayed here and existed.
That's where Daddy grew up. That's where he roped. That's where he went to school. The few years he did go to school. I'm a huge, huge fan of my daddy's.
Jack and I got married in 1950. She was a school teacher. I was rodeoing quite heavily. I was a little old bashful, heavy-set boy, and I didn't pay attention to the girls. One day I went by her house, and she was carrying 2 5-gallon buckets of water down to her daddy's hogs under the hill, and I thought maybe she might fit in my business. Seemed like she liked to work.
Well, I think years before we married, we knew that we were going to eventually wind up with each other.
Oh, my daddy always told me 3 things that a man didn't need was a roguish sow, a fence-breaking cow, and a red-headed woman, and I wound up with all 3 of them.
And enjoyed every bit of it.
Oh, shoot.
I've never understood why Mama loved us so much, all 4 of us kids, but after having Shelby, I can understand it 100%.
I always knew that I wanted children. I wanted someone that I thought would be a good father, make the breed a little better, and I think I got it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Our parents were good parents. We had good, strong grandparents, and I think we're pretty darn good parents, all of us.
It's that unconditional love that a kid receives from the mama, that no matter what they do, you still love them. You might bust their butt, but you still love them.
I really wasn't a training kids. I was just trying to get ahead for us, you know.
When we moved here in 1957, he started buying small tracts of land, and he was a steer roper. Every dollar that he made rodeoing and put back into this land.
Land means an awful lot to the McEntires.
You'd win some money, bring it home, and I never would get a new pair of shoes or anything, but
You never did go barefooted.
We'd get some land, wouldn't we?
When I was in college at Southeastern State University in Durant, Oklahoma, Daddy had the bright idea of me getting a job at the National Finals Rodeo in Oklahoma City instead of just going up there having a big time, get a job and pay for my expenses. Well, I said, well, doing what? He said, why don't you get a job singing the national anthem?
Oh, say, can you
I was thrilled to death to be in front of 9,000 or 10,000 people each night, singing a song where everybody had to be quiet and stand up at attention. And that was my big break in the music business, because that's when Red Stegall in 1974 heard me sing the national anthem, took me to Nashville, and we recorded a demonstration tape, and the rest is history.
She was always a big ham, and she's still a big ham. She's determined. She knows what she wants to do.
Reba's just Reba. She's just my little sister.
My big
the only
sister.
thing is she sings a little better than most people do.
I really enjoy talking about Reba. In fact, I carried on sometimes a little too much, and finally people, okay, I didn't want to know that much, you know?
It's still hard for me to really term her as the big star that everybody else sees her as. You know, we still see her as Reba.
Just our sister that we love.
You good cook?
Yeah, I'm a good cook.
I'll bet you are. What do they eat in Oklahoma that we don't know here?
Mountain oysters.
You have to explain what those are.
You know what lamb fries are?
They're from when you...
I like the way you're explaining it a lot better than the way I explain it.
Give me the recipe. What do you do with them?
Well, I slice them up real thin, kind of look like fish.
Are they from a bull?
Yeah.
You serve these to guests. Do you tell them what they are?
No, we tell them it's fish.
And if the bull loses them, would his voice get higher?
Yeah.
Does this make you a little nervous at all, this...
The plane crash in 91 changed my life drastically because at first I didn't want to be close to anybody anymore, ever again, because I felt they'd be taken away from me. And then I finally realized you can't live your life like that. It's impossible. It's miserable. That's what life is about, getting close, having relationships, and experiencing life, good or bad. You had to take it. I think the thing that I did ask a very special favor to God, that I asked him to prepare my heart in case anything like that ever happened again. I didn't ask for it not to happen. I just asked for him to prepare me. On My Own is a song that we were looking for because Linda Davis and I, we do the duet, Does He Love You, on stage, and we were looking for another song to become a duet for Linda and myself.
Every night I get to sing with her, it's like the first time. It's so exciting.
And I asked Trisha Yearwood and Martina McBride to join Linda and myself.
Reba called and we showed up.
Yeah, when Reba called, we're there. I mean,
yeah.
We had a blast in the studio. We had a blast shooting the video.
We've had fun, too. We got to know each other better and
got all kinds of plans.
learned how to play poker together.
Yeah. It's just a lot of fun getting to work with friends.
It's like when we were in the studio and when I hear it on the radio, when we did the video, I was just, you know, I think we've all kind of been looking forward to that moment when we get to take it on stage and do it live in front of people and get their immediate reaction.
That is a very pretty dress. Although I must admit, I was kind of hoping for that country western dress. The one you had at the Country Western Awards, rather?
Are you going to wear that dress again that
Which
you wore?
dress?
Do we have to mention the red dress?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, I found this on the newsstand at the market yesterday. I went exactly like it says there. Oh, Reba. Look at that shot.
My mama just said that it needed to be retired, and
Oh, Mama.
Mama wins.
No, it was a good-looking dress. Perhaps interesting cut to the dress.
What's this?
Well, that's how it was cut. That was a good...
I've never in my life had anything that was supposed to just go out and you're supposed to wear it, and it get more press than if I'd have won an award that night. So,
I mean, it was cut
you
very...
went like this the first time instead of like this the second time.
Actually, it was my imagination. I wanted it like this, but it was just actually cut like this.
You know what you're seeing right now is a rarity, with Mama and Daddy and Pake, Alice, and Susie and myself all on horseback at one time. It was usually Mama in the feed truck with a bunch of cattle cake, enticing the cattle to follow her on down to the corral so we could pin them up.
You know, there's 7 days a week in the wintertime because cattle have to be fed every day. They don't know a Sunday from a Tuesday. Reba learned a lot of good hard work ethics, and so did all of us.
I don't think Reba would have survived in the music industry had she not had the basic moral grounding that she had.
Mama was a very hard-working person. Daddy was a very hard-working person. Always has been.
They taught us that our word was worth a lot. I feel like that's another thing that has furthered Reba's career. When she says she's going to do it, she shows up, she's on time, and she does the best job she can do.
Grandpap was a world champion steer roper in '34. Consequently, whoever won Cheyenne that year was world champion, because that was the biggest rodeo, and he won Cheyenne that year.
Oh, describe Grandpap. That's what we called him, was Grandpap. His name was John Wesley McEntire.
Grandpap was a good person. He had a big heart. He was a prankster.
I've seen him, you know, have tobacco juice running out his both creases of his mouth, and you know, walk up and kiss a real nice lady right in the mouth, and she liked it.
Back in the 20s and 30s, when he started, the rodeo was just really beginning.
Probably the reason he's a rodeo cowboy more than a cowboy, because he's such a show-off.
Daddy's mama was the teacher up at Limestone Gap, and Pap wanted Daddy to be a rodeo cowboy, not a school kid, and he'd come get him out of class.
I didn't set out to win the championship of the world like a lot of boys do today. I set out to pay the grocery bill.
It paid off because Daddy knew what he wanted to do, and he didn't have a whole lot of education, and he's raised beef for I don't know how many years, but he still can't spell it right. But he raises them good.
He was world champion steer roper 3 times, 1957, 58, and 61.
I was raised around Grandpap and Daddy, and it's been a great way of life. I'm looking forward to all the future things in steer roping and rodeos. I was at Sheridan back in July and roped there, and it's pretty eerie to know that my grandpap roped there and my dad did too. You see on occasion some old-timers that come up and say, you know, I knew your granddad or I roped with your dad, and it's a pretty fun feeling. Like Grandpap said, it's the greatest lick they are.
I was a barrel racer.
A barrel racer?
You know what that is?
No, I'm not sure.
Well, you have 3 barrels in a triangle, and you run around in a cloverleaf pattern, and whoever runs around on a horse. Now, you don't do it afoot.
Oh, I understand, yeah.
Whoever goes around the barrels the fastest without knocking the barrel over wins. The things that I want Shelby to take into his manhood are the things that Mom and Daddy have taught me, and Narvel's Mom and Daddy have taught him.
You my bodyguard?
Yeah,
Mainly, it's the golden rule. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. Be fair, be honest. Make sure that your word means something when you say it.
When you want to ask me what I want for Christmas?
What do you want?
Just to be with you.
I just want a bow and arrow and a play shotgun.
And?
One other thing. Narvel and I've always been working hard. Maybe not for things that people think you work hard for. Material things, objects, money. But for that sense of accomplishment. And I hope that is instilled in Shelby somehow, some way.
Oh, you got some here on your shirt.
No.
You got some.
Hold on.
The things I'm looking forward to is old age. I've made it to 40. I'm thrilled to death with that. So if I can stay healthy and happy, then I've got the world by the tail. Everything else is icing on the cake that I get to do. Now looking ahead 20 years, I have to say the sky's the limit.